Move on. The fixtures this week. We've been talking about them already. Manchester City against Arsenal. It's one of the standout fixtures of the weekend. 92% say Pep Guardiola is going to get one over on, his buddy Mikel Arteta, who basically got the gig for being his buddy. As an Arsenal fan, Brian, what do you make of this? I mean, the win during the week, I know you were kind of tongue-in-cheek about it, but as far as I know, you'd predicted a big win for them against West Brom during the week. They picked their full team, largely. And I have a feeling he's going to pick a very similar team for this game. And I would not be terribly surprised if Arsenal did something here. Maybe they don't win, but I think they're going to score. I think they might even score twice in this game.
I'd love to have your confidence. It might work against them that he was forced to play a full strength team because of the manner in their opening 2 defeats. But that might work against them as well because they've playing a game only 3 days before this one. They're 10-1 to win this game. City are 2-9, and the draw is 5-1. I think don't quote me on this, but I think that's the biggest price Arsenal have ever been for a Premier League match at 10-1. And I think it's even though I might have red tinted glasses on, I think it's impossible to see them getting a result here. Man City always beat them. Their last 7 games in the league, they've won on an aggregate of 16 goals to 1. Aubameyang got his hat-trick midweek, which is good for him because when he's not scoring goals, he's a passenger in that Arsenal team there. It's like they're playing with 10 men. He doesn't know how to defend, or he doesn't want to defend anyways. I don't think he gets on well with Arteta at the moment. I think there's a falling out there, and that's had an adverse effect on the dressing room. I think Arsenal, though, I think it will be 3 defeats on the trot for them in the league. I think they're a bit unfortunate the way the fixtures have set up, having 0 points after 3 games, because I think at the start of the season there's often a lot more scrutiny on results. I look back to Aston Villa last year. They won their first 4 games of the season. People were saying they're top 4 contenders. They end up finishing 11th. So for this one, though, I can't see anything other than a City win. They're too short in the match betting at 2-9, but I'd back them to win 2-0. I think Raheem Sterling is worth the bet. He loves this fixture. He scored in the last 4 against Arsenal as well.
Anything?
Yeah, I got a lot of stick from Arsenal fans last week for my quote-unquote lazy analysis on them, but I do think one of the issues with Arsenal, and it became more evident against Chelsea last week, is the perception of Arsenal as a top 6 team. I just don't think they are that anymore, and the more that we treat them like top 6 contenders, the more scrutiny that they will come under when they don't win those games against Chelsea. And against Chelsea last week, I mean, they were good in stages, don't get me wrong, but it was like a top 6 contender holding a mid-table side by the head as they try to swing aimlessly at them and not lay a mark on them. So I think it's going to be similar enough this weekend. I think Manchester City just have far too much firepower for them. Defensively, Arsenal are just not good enough at this point with Pablo Mari and Rob Holding playing in the centre back. And the biggest issue with Arsenal last week was Kieran Tierney had absolutely no support when he was defending, and Chelsea just tore them apart with Reece James. So if Arsenal play any way similar to what they played against Chelsea last week, I can't see them getting anything out of this.
All right, let's talk about the Liverpool-Chelsea game, the other big game on Saturday. This one kicks off at 5:30. Liverpool 52%, Chelsea 48%. So this will be interesting to see exactly what the relationship between these two teams is going to be like this year, because I think they both believe that they are proper title contenders, and Liverpool are going to feel like they have their full team available to them largely for this fixture. And so this is the first opportunity that we're going to see the full power of Klopp versus the full power of Thomas Tuchel. It's the first time we get to see Virgil versus what Chelsea believe and what the market currently believes is going to be the Golden Boot winner this year. So what are the odds for this game at this point? Liverpool at home, slight favourites, are they, Brian?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're 6-4. The draw is 11-5, and Chelsea are 15-8. I'd rather be on Chelsea at the bigger price. I just think, having watched Liverpool's first 2 games, they did give up defensively a few more chances. Norwich could have scored on the opening day. Burnley had a few half chances early on. Ashley Barnes was put through one-on-one towards the end as well. If you give those chances to Lukaku, Werner or Havertz, they're going to put them away. I don't think Lukaku could have had an easier reintroduction to the Premier League than being up against Pablo Mari last weekend, but he's not going to be up against him every week. Really looking forward to seeing him up against Van Dijk. I think that's going to be a great battle, and I think he might be kept quiet as well, which I think might leave opportunities for some of Chelsea's midfielders, Mount maybe, to get on into the box, find himself a bit of space and score in this one. So it's going to be a great game so early on in the season. Two real title contenders, but I'm going to go with Chelsea to edge this one.
Okay, frequently we hype ourselves up ahead of these games and they turn out to be super tactical nil-alls. There's a possibility this is one of those super tactical nil-alls, but we haven't seen that too often from Manchester United under Jurgen Klopp. So what do you think is going to happen, Enda?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. On the one end, with Lukaku, the way that he shoved Rob Holding off the ball to get his first goal last week, that's not going to happen against Virgil van Dijk. I think that is the battle that you're going to be watching, what role he's going to play in this game. But the fullbacks is equally as interesting, because obviously Tuchel prefers Marcos Alonso, and if he's playing left back, I don't trust him to do the defensive work necessary to keep Trent at bay and to keep Salah at bay. So I think that might be one change that Tuchel might go for Chilwell over Alonso for the first time this season. And if that happens, I'd fancy Chelsea. I think they have a little bit too much power down the wing backs with Reece James now as well. And the football that Kai Havertz is playing at the minute, they're a really interesting side. And one thing that I wanted to put to you, so the Premier League obviously had the biggest coaches in the world over the last couple of years. Klopp came in, changed things. Pep came in, changed things. Conte changed how people use wing backs for a long time. Is Thomas Tuchel now the big dog in terms of innovation and the person who's going to be laying the pathway for the next 5 years of how people play football?
He needs to win the league, I think. You know, we've seen in the past managers can come in and win a Champions League under certain circumstances. Last year was a very strange scenario and strange situation, but the consistency needs to be there week in, week out for you to go, okay, this is a style of play and a philosophy and a project that has reached some level of maturity. We haven't seen that yet. Obviously there is a potential for that to happen. If he continues at the level of success he's having right now, then yeah, but we can't anoint him that yet, right?
Yeah, I think if he wins the league, I think we're looking at a guy who is he's what Klopp did to the high press and what Pep did to the tiki-taka football and Conte with his Chelsea side. I think he could be the guy that lays a pathway for coaches who are copying him.
If he wins the league, I would really like for a guarantee that we're going to see another couple of seasons of Klopp and Guardiola. I'd rather that we could actually just say this is what football is going to be for the next 3 or 4 years, because one of the best parts about the longevity of Ferguson and Wenger during that period was we knew that it was going to be, you're going to have to come back with something new and something completely different, and eventually obviously that was a completely one-sided relationship and there was a dominant partner in it. But if Guardiola was to go, is the next City manager going to be, I mean, they're obviously going to have endless amounts of money, but are they going to be able to go up against Tuchel and I don't know, and will Klopp burn out if he doesn't win this season? So you really hope that they actually keep those characters in those jobs for a while so we get to see what happens. Let's fly through the rest of these fixtures and just get some odds for them. Newcastle against Southampton kicks off at 3 o'clock, as we said, on Saturday. The Toon 45%, the Saints 55%. I actually fancy Southampton. I think there might be a little bit of stirring in what Hasenhüttl is doing. What are the odds?
Newcastle 29-20, the draw is 23-10, and Southampton are 9-5. If you're going to miss one match this weekend to watch, I'd probably give this one a skip. Two teams that they'll probably be at the wrong end of the table come the end of the season. Southampton, I think, even though they've brought in Adam Armstrong to replace Danny Ings, I think they really will miss him up top. This is best watched for me. I don't have a major opinion on this one.
Brighton versus Everton, also 3 o'clock kickoff. What are the odds in this one?
We have Brighton at 13-10, the draw 21-10, and Everton 11-5.
Right. So
one little one I like on this one is in the prop markets. It's our man Shane Duffy to have a headed shot on target at 2-1. I don't think anyone expected him to come back in after his season at Celtic last season and do as well as he has done in the opening 2 games. But he scored a goal last week. He had a headed shot on target in week 1 as well. So 2-1 I think is nice value there.
Even if you're not religious, the Derry Lazarus will surely instill some faith in you that there is a higher power up there, and that whoever this higher power is, she is looking down on Shane Duffy and going, yes child, you are my son, come on.
Can I offer you the atheist version of that?
Yeah.
He's working under a manager who's not a complete idiot now.
Look, we went. How did we have 29 minutes before Neil Lennon got one? Neil Lennon's lying in the corner asleep, and all of a sudden, what? Oh, you shot me again, Enda. What?
I'll never get over it. It was the wrong move, wrong time, wrong manager. So I'm delighted delighted to see Shane Duffy doing well again.
Right. Okay. So that's Brighton against Everton. I don't know. I think both these two teams are actually relatively interesting. West Ham against Crystal Palace. David Moyes, another Lazarus-like comeback here, and fair play to him. I'm all aboard the Moyes train. 92%, 8%. Patrick Vieira.
Not great.
That Patrick Vieira thing was never ever going to work. This is like Ronald de Boer Mark II. Okay, so West Ham must be heavy favourites for this, are they?
Yeah, 4-7, which I think is fine to throw into any weekend because the draw 14-5 and Palace are 5-1. I think you're jumping the gun again there on Patrick Vieira. We're only 2 games into the season. It hasn't looked very well. I think if you look at Palace's expected goals in their first 2 games, they haven't even mustered up one. They're on 0.9, I think. West Ham.
How am I jumping the gun then? Me and the gun are right beside each other.
Just give them a bit of time at the start of the season. Give them 6 or 7. That's the way football has gone, I suppose. Now that you can't, it's a cutthroat.
If only he had
a
track record that was like suggested that I can turn this round, but I don't think he does.
How long did De Boer last at Palace? Was it 7 games?
I think
we should get a special up to see if Vieira will last longer.
I think it was 8, but they didn't score a single goal. I mean, Crystal Palace are on the way to do that as well. But if I'm holding my judgment on Eze and when he comes back and what they do when he's eventually fit for them. I did say last year my tip for relegation this year was Crystal Palace once Roy Hodgson left, because he's a rock that was holding Crystal Palace in the Premier League. So no matter whether it was Patrick Vieira or Jose Mourinho, I think Crystal Palace were always going to struggle this year.
Norwich against Leicester, 3 o'clock kickoff as well. Here 7%, Norwich 93%, Leicester, according to our Instagram poll, which goes up every Thursday. Leicester absolutely spanked last week in the aftermath of the sending off. It's okay to blame the sending off, but like, come on, batten down the hatches. You're professionals. You're supposed to be in the running for a place in the Champions League. That was not the performance of a team who were as good as they are supposed to be. So, and look, they're a bit flaky from time to time. As we know, I'm the Brendan Rodgers fan in this relationship, but I guess Leicester are heavy odds on for this as well, Brian.
No, just a shade of odds on. 17-20, Norwich are 10-3, and the draw is 12-5. Just a quick one on this one. I'd like Brendan Rodgers to bring in Patson Daka, the striker that they got in from Salzburg last season. He scored 27 league goals in 28 league games, albeit in the Austrian division. But he looks one to watch. And Jamie Vardy, you can't question his ability and what he's done for Leicester over the years. But he's 34 now. He scored 5 goals in his last 28 appearances for Leicester. So I don't see any harm in changing it up and bringing in Daka for a start. Or even Iheanacho, who finished the season really strongly last year.
Okay. Anything to say about this?
No, we can move on to the other ones.
Villa against Brentford, 3 o'clock. 81% Villa, Brentford 19%. What are the odds?
Villa, shade of odds on as well, 19-20 to draw, 12-5, and Brentford 14-5. Brentford had a solid start opening day against Arsenal. They bullied them off the park. Didn't give up too many chances defensively against Palace last week either. So I think this was going to be a close enough one. I Villa sort of laboured to albeit a 2-0 win over Newcastle last week, but I think this will be low scoring, maybe the draw here. Okay,
on Sunday, Burnley against Leeds at 2 o'clock, and again, Burnley 23%, Leeds 77%. I don't know about that. I think I'll be making Burnley much closer to I don't know, this one. You tell me the odds here, Brian.
Burnley are 2-1. The draw is 12-5, and Leeds are 13-10. I'd agree with the market on this one. I think Burnley, traditionally Turf Moor, they say it's a tough place to go to, but they only won 4 games there last season. They lost 9. They lost to Leeds 4-0 last year as well. I think Leeds just have better players all around the park, and Rafinha, I think, is a good goal scorer bet in this one as well. All right, Leeds definitely have better players, but I just think that second season in, Burnley will have had the opportunity to see what Leeds did to them last year. They're no mugs. Well, Burnley need to stop wrestling, Jerry. That's the problem. They think they're in the Royal Rumble as opposed to the Premier League. Built for it. Jurgen Klopp, but I think Leeds move the ball too quickly for Burnley. That's the issue here. Let's see. Final one for now, Spurs against Watford. This one kicks off at 2 o'clock. It's Spurs 94%, Watford 6%.
Harry Kane's going to be surely starting this game and filling his boots to remind everybody that, yeah, I love you. I always wanted to be here. I love this stadium. You're amazing.
Yeah, they're 4-11 Tottenham to draw 17-5 and Watford 15-2. He did that last night. They were playing in the Conference League. He scored a brace, so I think it's a perfect Premier League game for him to come back into, and I'd like him maybe to grab another brace this weekend. I'd nearly be fancying him to score 2 or more.
All right, it sounds like a sure thing as they go. I talked earlier on about the return of our near miss section. Basically, if you've got an accumulator bet with Paddy Power and it's let down by an offside goal or a dodgy penalty, take a screenshot of the bet, include the bet ID, send it to us on Twitter, WhatsApp or Instagram, and our own dodgy goal commission will make a decision on whether to give you your full winnings or restore your wager. We have had an entry this week, hashtag PP near miss. Send it to us with that. And Brian, you've got some details on this. What was the crack?
Yeah, I was looking through these during the week, the entries sent into your social channels with the hashtag PP near miss, and there was one sent in. It was a €5 bet builder that Will Stafford sent in, and it had 8 selections in it. So he must have been listening to Emmett on the show last week, who tipped up. It was in the Liverpool Burnley game. Sorry, he must have been listening to Emmett. He had Simicast to have an assist. That was his first selection. He whipped the ball in for Jota to score. That was another one of his selections, was Jota anytime. Then he had under 3.5 goals, Liverpool to win, Liverpool to take 4 or more corners, and then he had 3 players to have a shot on target: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ashley Barnes and Harvey Elliott. So coming about 10 minutes to go in the game, none of them had a shot on target. Harvey Elliott had 2 shots. Trent got one in the 83rd minute, I think it was, and then Ashley Barnes was put through in the 94th minute for his shot on target. So we came in about 500 to 1 this bet. It was only the 7 out of the 8 selections came in. It was only the Harvey Elliott shot on target, and he went close twice. He did have 2 shots. One was blocked, one went wide. So I had the decision to make. Well, will we refund him his $5 bet, or will we be generous and pay it out? Now, because of our promo, if you place a bet builder pre-match any Premier League game with 4 selections or more, you get your refund, your bet back as a free stake if one selection lets you down. So Will has already been refunded his $5, but we're going to go one better, and we're going to pay him out the €1,910 that the bet would have returned. So that will be in his account after the show.
Wow. Holy moly, that is pretty good. So what's his name again, sorry?
Will Stafford. It was an incredible bet builder. I had a look. I clicked onto his Twitter account, and his own bio was one of those deluded Liverpool fans. So the bet, the 5 or 8 selections, 500 to 1. He was sitting down for the Liverpool game, have a bit of crack on it, and is an incredible bet builder. He went so close, and we're going to pay him out. He's
about to have a very good weekend as well. So Will Stafford, congratulations. Over 1,900 quid in your Paddy Power account, courtesy of the good people at Paddy Power. Brian, good stuff. An excellent debut. Way better than most of those Arsenal kids, but keep it up. You can come back anytime, it turns out.
Thank you. Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Enda. Thanks for having me.
It's Brian McDonnell there from Paddy Power, myself and Enda on this week's edition of the Paddy Power Half Hour. And remember, if you are going to gamble, only gamble as much as you can afford to lose, and check out gambleaware.ie if you're having issues. That's this week's Paddy Power in Half Hour in the books. Take care.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power, the best partnership since Vidic and Ferdinand. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.